That last super chat says, I'm tired of being a Russian racist. Can this end? I wish it will end because it's crazy. But let's get to it because, fam, Russia's back in business right now, right?
Yeah.
It just went cray-cray all over the networks, the mainstream media, the establishment, the little establishment pundits like the David Atkins and other little minions screaming Russia, Russia, Russia. We had a major hack in some of our State Department, our Treasury Department, Department of Homeland Security. There was a major hack with the software by this company called SolarWinds, right? And I have the first here. What is SolarWinds? Who is SolarWinds? And you can just see it's an IT company, fam. It has all the bells and whistles, the network management, the systems management, the IT security, the database management. We always love that when you get the when they manage the database. God forbid it gets out, right? Application management, the whole 9 yards. So pretty much, fam, they're this software company that actually plugs into a lot of the systems of all these departments we're talking about, these state departments, these U.S. departments. And there was a major, major hack. Now, I watched a film. It's only 5 minutes long. I wanted to play it real quick, and this will explain the hack. But, Johnny, when you feel like cutting it off, since you're the IT person, and it kind of gets the message out there that you think it's good, you can end it right there. But it's a cute little video because I think we have to understand what's going on before we point out who, what, when, and where, because this is something, fam, that I think could be tied in almost to like a Whitney Webb mentality where it could be a false flag. And here we go. Guns a-blazing at Russia again. Your thoughts?
Oh, no. Let's just watch it.
Let's do it.
It's pretty common to hear about a cyber attack stealing user data, but the latest cyber attack that's known as the SolarWinds hack has affected government departments like the US Department of Treasury, Commerce, and Homeland Security. And these are the departments that we know for sure have been infected by this attack. It's estimated that almost 18,000 companies, both private and public, have been exposed to this attack. And attackers had access to private emails and other sensitive documents since June of this year. So let's have a look at what happened and how big of an impact this might have. Let's just start with how this happened. This attack is categorized as a supply chain attack, which simply means that instead of attacking the Department of Treasury directly, they hack their software provider. Since they trust their software provider, they'll download any updates coming from that supplier. In this case, the hackers attacked SolarWinds, which is a company that provides Orion network monitoring tool. Attackers compromised the software update mechanism and then used it to infect selected customers who installed a backdoored version of the company's Orion network management tool. SolarWinds provides this software to almost 300,000 customers, but it's reported that only 18,000 companies installed the backdoored version of the management tool. Okay, so this is how they reached the system, but how does it work? Well, the file in question is a core DLL file. The file contains a backdoor that communicates via HTTP to third-party servers. This file is part of the standard Windows installer patch file that includes compressed resources associated with the update. So once the update is installed, this malicious DLL is loaded into the system. However, it stays inactive for the first couple of weeks and then retrieves and executes commands that allows it to transfer files, execute files, profile the system, reboot the machine, and disable system services. And with this kind of access, it can be used to access sensitive information which can then be sent back to the third-party servers. Now, this is a very simple explanation. If you want more details, then visit FreeEye's website. They have a detailed technical report on this attack. Now that we have seen how it all works, you must be wondering, what's the big deal? Well, what sets this apart is that any department that updated their system will have a backdoor installed in their system, and attackers will be able to access those systems. But the real issue here is the nature of the SolarWinds tool. Since SolarWinds provide a network management tool, their tool has the privilege to access other parts of your network. To give you an idea, SolarWinds allows one to view an enterprise's network topology, connections between devices and all interfaces, and ports connected to various connected devices and their current states. So by attacking this network management tool, these hackers have gained a key to unlock the network infrastructure of a large number of organizations. Now, SolarWinds comprehensive products and services are used by more than 300,000 customers worldwide, including military, Fortune 500 companies, government agencies, and even education institutes. So, as you can see, this is a huge list with very important names. And the second biggest problem is the counter. What can the government do to keep their data safe? Well, that's the issue here. They've attacked through the network management tool. And with that kind of access, not only can they access your entire infrastructure, they can stay undetected for a very long time. The government's first response was to disconnect the infected systems from the network. But that's not going to be enough because their entire infrastructure is compromised. But the good thing is they've released a couple of security patches and other security firms are trying to find a way to secure these systems. But as I mentioned before, supply chain attacks are among the hardest to counter because they rely on software that's already trusted and widely distributed. But even in the best case scenario, it's going to take a lot of time. And even then, there isn't going to be any guarantee because they can't really trace all the backdoors in their networks. But there's one thing that everyone is forgetting here. Even if they do everything perfectly and get this under control in the next 2 weeks and fix every security issue, what's the point? This attack was initiated back in spring of 2020. It's been more than 6 months already and God knows how much information they've stolen already. They had more than enough time to not just target every high priority individual, but they also had more than enough time to dig further into the system. So this could have some very serious implications. And we might not even know how they'll use the stolen data for some time to come. The Trump administration has not said which agencies were hacked. And so far, no private sector victims have come forward. Traditionally, defense contractors and telecommunication companies have been popular targets with state-backed cyber attacks. So these will be the high priority targets.
Okay. Pasta.
Okay. Do you have anything to say real quick before I make some comments about this right now? Okay, so I want to point out, because a couple people are pointing out in the chats, that it's not a hack, it's not a bug. And we talk to a lot of software engineers, especially as of late when it comes to election integrity, when it comes to these machines. And one thing that Benny Smith pointed out when it came to the weighted mechanism within the count of the tabulation machines, it's not a bug. It's not a hack. It's actually a feature. And a lot of people are questioning this right now. They're saying, oh, it's a bug, whatnot. It's a feature. It's a secret feature, a hidden feature. So therefore, somebody has backdoor and has access to what's going on within the whole system. Now, the whole thing about it is, fam, is that you know, I know, Johnny knows, we all see what happened. As soon as the hack happens, who do they blame?
Russia.
Of course, because if the Democratic Party does anything wrong, if they're the ones to look at, they blame Russia. So I wanted to start talking about some evidence and start looking at a few things about who actually owns SolarWinds and where it comes from. So the first one I started off with, and I listen, I want to just kind of explain this stuff too as well, because you know, a lot of the right-wing media, they go crazy right now. They're like, oh, the ties to Clinton, the ties to the Obama, we're going to go over those things. But then they also go down the China hole, right? And I don't want to go down the China hole right now, because once again, the links are not, they're sometimes blown up to be a little bit more than they are. But there is solid financial proof that the Clintons and the Obamas have been involved when it comes to this particular company. So here it is now. So SolarWinds from Dr. Quigley, all right? Not sure if this has been shared yet, but the buyout firm Tomo Bravo, who now owns SolarWinds, was funded by a Puerto Rican billionaire who contributed over $100,000 to Hillary Clinton in 2016. Here he is, Orlando Bravo, whatnot. So right off the bat, boom, jump out. You think about it, it's a feature. Somebody wants a backdoor. What better way to get a backdoor for the people who think they're the government within the government, the deep state, the Clintons, and the intelligence community, than to use this right here?
Right. And you can see it right there, right? And the contribution.
Yeah, right there. There's a link to it. You can go into everything, the campaign money. He also put other money into other Democratic PACs back in the days too, as well. So the guy has money, interest within the Democratic Party, the establishment, the elites of sorts, while he's building software that's not used in a lot of our countries, our national security forms and whatnot. It's a backdoor. All these people, they said there's over 300,000 customers, but only 18,000 of them got infected, and they actually downloaded the software, fam. That they thought they were just updating their software, but it was actually giving you keys to a backdoor for these people to get into. Now they've gotten in since spring, so who knows how many archives, what information, everything they want to know, everything they want to find out, they can probably already have a hold of it. And who would want that information? Wolf Blitzer and folks will tell you Russia. But also, here we are again, just to show you that the other owners of SolarWinds is Silver Lake Partners, okay? SLP co-founder Glenn Hutchinson is a former advisor to Bill Clinton and is currently on the board of the Obama Foundation. So there they are, Mr. Glenn Hutchins, walking in behind the warmonger queen of wherever she's from, Hillary Clinton, right there as well. So there's another connection right now, and the Obama Foundation. It's all that money put together, fam. One last thing I want to talk about before we get into a little bit of conversation and really dig into this here is that there's also a connection between Dominion Voting and SolarWinds as well, where SolarWinds have used their software before. And this guy who has this, a pretty big following on Twitter, he follows a lot of election integrity, whatnot. Dominion deleted the reference and the link to SolarWinds from their website, but we still have the archive. Hello, now you see it, now you don't. Plain and simple, fam, here on the bottom of Dominion voting software, you see strongly, loud, proud, the little orange flames, SolarWinds. So now you have connections, solid connections when it comes to SolarWinds, which was the backdoor for this hack, to the Clintons, to the Obama Foundation, and even a little hanky-panky when it comes to who? Dominion. I don't know, fam. Do you believe it was Russia, or do you believe it was one of these fools or these...
I mean, I definitely don't think it was Russia, and we're going to hear Trump's opinion and Pompeo's opinion. But I mean, I'm hesitant to say that this is China as well. So
yeah, I am too. I mean, once again, I don't feel that China's pulling the strings. I feel that some people have entered in a business relationship with China of sorts. I still look at our oligarchs and what we do. You know what I'm saying? Once again, I never said that they took one freaking job from us. We chose to go over there and do that with them. And once again, I don't think they're pulling the strings. To me, once again, this feels like the establishment. This feels like the elites, the oligarchs right here at home doing what they want to do. Listen, none of them paid a price for their lies in Russiagate. And every single time we look financially, there's a connection, whatnot, with who? This particular family or this particular group of Democrats. Even when it comes to our elections with Obama working the phone, it's like they're controlling things in the background. Trump's opinion. We have a tweet right here, fam. The cyber hack attack, whatever you call it, the Big Mac attack, is far greater in the fake news media than actuality. I have been fully briefed, and everything is well under control. Russia, Russia, Russia. These people are sick is the priority chant when anything happens because the lamestream is, for mostly financial reasons, petrified of discussing the possibility that it may be China. It may. There could have also been a hit on our ridiculous voting machines during the elections, which is now obvious that I won big, bigger than anyone, making it even more corrupted and embarrassment for the United States.
see, that's the thing. That's the problem I have because to me right now it feels like neoliberals are blaming Russia, the right is blaming China. I think we have a lot more to do with this than anybody else, is my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's once again, it's the scare tactic of the communisms are coming, the commies are coming to get you, whatnot, and stuff. And listen, I just want to say that, yes, I will agree that there are more financial connections with our oligarchs in China than there are in Russia, because there's not a lot of connections with Russia at all. It's just a crock of shit, in my personal opinion. And it's to pump money into NATO and where we can get the military industrial complex to waste a ton of money running drills coming out of the Americans' pockets rather than getting people off the streets. But I mean, once again, I don't blame China. I think we have to be accountable for our actions. If we're the party of individual responsibility, the Republicans, we have to say that we set up China and put them in any positions to invest. We opened up the door for them. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, we'll look at stuff, but it is, fam. It's the same thing. It's like a tennis ball. It's the Democrats going Russia, Russia, Russia. The Republicans going China, China, China. And like, why don't we hold the real people who sold us out accountable?
Right. And that would be like the establishment, right? And I think the reason for that is I don't know how much Trump knows or how much he doesn't know, but it's because it's not beneficial to anybody. It's because it's to these people's they're involved in a lot of it. People like in the deep state, they're involved, whether they're on the Democratic end or the Republican end. So at the end of the day, just like with election fraud, I think it's really difficult to get to the bottom of anything when you have people twisting the information for their own political narrative.
Yeah, you know, I keep saying it's their political narrative as well, but sometimes I'm thinking they really believe in hardcore in this shit. Sometimes they get too carried away. You can't point the finger at China every single time you have a problem. Okay. You know, and the fact is they keep saying, oh, we don't want to turn us into a communist government here. We're not. We don't have. Joe Biden is not a communist, okay?
Not even close.
Joe Biden is a global capitalist, you know what I'm saying, that will sell us out to anybody. They'll sell us out for cheap labor. They don't care. They crush businesses here in America. They crush factories. Why? Because they want to seek out cheap labor, and now they want to point the finger at Russia. And then instead of the Republicans pointing the finger at oligarchs, they start pointing at China, and it's a whole circular filing ring that doesn't need to do anything. And when we've talked about these people, fam, within the government, and we were even saying back in the days, like, why are people on the right trusting Bill Barr? His father gave Epstein his first job. He's never going to rat out his boys. Pompeo, same thing. When he says, oh, we got paid to lie, whatnot. Well, now even Pompeo has kind of turned his back on Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, the last soldier he thought he had, Pompeo turned his back on him and said, nope, it's Russia. It must be Russia.
Yep. It's expected, though. So what Pompeo say?
Pompeo said it blames Russia. He says it's obvious it's Russia.
Right.
And I haven't seen any solid proof that it's Russia whatsoever. I've saw more connections, like we said, to the Clintons and the Obamas than Russia any day of the week. And why? I mean, what's this obsession with Russia? I mean, it's every single time they say Russia, they're trying to hide something themselves. But I think Pompeo knows that it's inevitable that here comes Biden and the Democrats. They're coming back into power. So he's going to straighten up and fly right. And so be it.
Jonny, I had put a video because I wanted us to hear exactly what he said, because it got me really going when I heard it too. It's just a bunch of just like imperialist neo-McCarthyism all over again. The Russians disappeared during the election, but they somehow came back just right after when they were needed. So
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says that he believes Russia is behind a massive cyber attack that breached dozens of federal agencies and companies.
Yeah, at least half a dozen federal agencies were targeted. We're talking about Homeland Security's Cybersecurity Division. Also, the Departments of State, Commerce, Agriculture, Energy. Now, investigators are trying to determine what...
There was a significant...
to determine what, if any, government data may have been accessed or stolen in the attack.
There was a significant effort to use a piece of third-party software to essentially embed code inside of U.S. government systems, and it now appears systems of private companies and governments across the world as well. This was a very significant effort, and I think it's the case that now we can say pretty clearly that it was the Russians that engaged in this activity.
Okay, so I just want to point out a couple things, Pasta, and then I'll give you the floor. Number one, I love how they're talking about a hack into our security, cybersecurity, and yet it is impossible to even fathom that there could be a hack in our election system with machines that are proprietary software that we can't look into. And people scoff at these abnormalities, and they scoff at the statistical anomalies. And yet, a lot of these same people that scoff are so quick to believe that Russians from across another continent decided to hack into our elections yet again, and take down our whole system. Number one. Number two, the fact that he is so just assuredly saying, "Oh, it's Russia." This is a joke to me at this point. I mean, it's a joke because when I hear still progressives talking about, "Ooh, Russia, how dare you be on RT," or how can you not say that Assange is worked with Putin because he did, and blah blah blah. And like, I'm just like, are we really still on this? This kind of shit is why like so many people get so misguided and so easily manipulated. And the mainstream media, it's like they took a meeting, sat down and said, okay, we're gonna ask you these questions, and then we're gonna talk about this, and we're gonna frame it like this. That's propaganda. It's not journalism in any way, shape, or form. They have no evidence again. And now we're talking about this yet again, even though they completely ignored Russia during the election because it went their way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these are like petulant childs. Just arguing with these people too on Twitter is just ridiculous. Not mentioning any names, asshole David Atkins. But I mean, it's so stupid to hear these people, all of them, say these blanket statements. Oh, it was 20 intelligence agencies that said that the Russians hacked the DNC servers, and you're still not even acknowledging that they did hack the DNC servers. It's Russia again. You're on your conspiracy Seth Rich BS, and you talk like a MAGA, like a Trumper. Like, that's all they have. It's like, okay, first of all, we went down the rabbit hole of every single aspect of Russiagate, and we saw from top to bottom, it was nothing more than a lie. Even so that we had Brennan's declassified notes talking about going after them, and Obama going and go after Flynn too, and Joe Biden was there. We saw it was all a lie with Kevin Kleinsmith, the lawyer for the FBI, who changed an email and said Carter Page did not work for the CIA. They lied, plain and simple, in every single step of the way. We saw it was a lie, a lie, a lie, and more lies. From Peter Strzok and Andrew McCabe talking about getting insurance, and yet, no matter how we prove it's freaking a lie, they still repeat the same talking points and the bumper sticker points and act like it's true. And it's the whole thing. It's about Democrats, right? They're not uninformed. They're just completely misinformed. And it's driven from a place of emotion, these neo-progressives, because they want to be with the cool people now. They want to be in the party. They want to be special. So they believe these lies. They regurgitate these lies because these people inside got some really internal healing to do, because they're acting on a place of emotion, not logic. You can look at this shit and see it's fake. And now you look at this SolarWinds thing and you want to tell us that it's Russia hacking our shit again? Meanwhile, you got ties to Obama, Clinton, and Dominion. These people were looking in. They were doing what they wanted to do, okay, which was control the government to get their people in. They're putting all the same people back in office. I mean, it's disgusting. I'm sorry.
No, and it's just really bad. I don't even know how to keep talking about this, but you had a Glenn Greenwald tweet up.
Because it's really what you talk about. It's what you just said. It hit it right on the nose. So journalists are validity noting Trump's claim that China might have done the hack has no evidence, but they simultaneously insist that every decent person is supposed to blindly believe Pompeo's claim that Russia did it, even though no evidence has been presented for either. And that's what it is. It's the ping pong ball. Boom, 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 boom.
But that's like, I hadn't even read Glenn's tweet, but it's like, thank you. Like, I don't see the hypocrisy, and it's literally the same people mocking us for talking about this election being rigged against Trump, right? Are the same people now, oh my God, Russia is back. It's like, you're a chump. Like, you literally believe a narrative only based when it's your political, like, convenience. And it's very obvious now. It's getting very, very obvious. And we're going to talk more about how everybody is exposing themselves, right? But it's really obvious who are the hacks and the propagandists and who are the real truth tellers and the real journalists here. Because anybody taking this story about hacking seriously right now at this stage in the game, when we spent the last 4 fucking years literally telling you that Russiagate was a hoax and we were proven right, to now bringing it back all of a sudden. And by the way, need I say this? This is what Winnie Webb is talking about when we're talking about the marriage of the security state with the military industrial complex and Silicon Valley getting their hands in there with the Biden administration coming in. We're seeing our civil liberties be completely under attack while Julian Assange is still, waiting for a verdict. And we're seeing all of this happen all at once simultaneously with the vaccine and COVID and the way they're trying to control that right now. We all got COVID here. We're not saying it's not a real virus. What we are saying is people are taking advantage, the powers that be are taking advantage to push a certain agenda. And that's very different than saying, oh, this is made up. It's more of like along the lines of we know what this is. However, at the same time, we don't know the intentions that are being and the moves being made behind the scenes to get a certain agenda to increase the hold on Americans and like reduce the privacy, right? And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that happen as we speak. We're seeing the fact that we can't talk about election fraud and Orange Man bad at the same time, that we can't mention anything about COVID on YouTube, and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. They're all doing very, very similar things. So what's happening is what that is a part of this. And I believe they're using this hack to cover their ass, to cover their tracks into the ever expanding security state.
Yeah. You talk about the Great Reset with the vaccines mandatory, Klaus Schwab, this whole new thing, when he's talking about a cyber attack and all this BS, it does make it, it's just, and then you see the Democratic Party, the establishment, like, who are they talking to? Who is their message going to? It's the low-informed people, where either the people who are too consumed with work or too consumed with Netflix, one or the other, right? And they say these blanket baseline statements, and even if they are proven wrong, they keep saying it. Ted Lieu over here. Dear Donald Trump, and this is after Donald Trump is saying that it's got to be Russia, 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 the tweet we just read. He goes, can you please stop lying? We still don't know the full scale of the damage, and neither do you. But we do know your own Secretary Pompeo said Russia, was Pompeo getting back in line, was behind the massive cyber attack. Why do you always bend the knee in front of Putin? What is wrong with you? Once again, they still want to live this whole friggin' lie that Donald Trump is controlled by Putin, and also your friend Adam Schiff for brains. He jumps into as well. Another day, another scandalous betrayal of our national security by this president. Another dishonest tweet that sounds like it could have been written in the Kremlin. All the keywords there are crazy there.
He sounds like a CIA operative.
Putin. What'd you say?
He sounds like a CIA operative.
It is. Out. He mentions Putin. It just gets disgusting with these guys. And like I said, when people we're looking at, we're looking at this. Some people realize that this wasn't a hack. This wasn't a bug. This was a feature. Somebody who could build this into software to open up a back door. They can go in, see what they want, change what they want, do what they want. And that's what we have here. So could this be the false flag that Whitney talked about, where they can redirect the attention back on Russia, Russia, Russia? We build NATO up and get back on the border and go more over the proxy wars against them, like the Syrias and the Irans. What do you think?
We have the right people in the Biden administration coming in. I mean, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect when you have every single Obama stooge coming into the Biden administration that is pro-NATO, pro-drone strike, pro-sanctions. And then you're talking about the people with NSA ties, with CIA ties, Avril Haines. We're talking about all these people. Of course, they're going to take advantage of doing this in a very cryptic way. They're going to turn it around and say, oh, look at Trump. He wasn't great with our security. And this is where I get to criticize Trump, because Trump should have been astute enough, and he wasn't, to literally actually drain the swamp, right? Like he said he would. Instead, he surrounded himself with neocons and CIA guys and people who were in the intelligence community and thought that they were somehow going to be loyal to him. And that's ridiculous. And that was his mistake. And now the chickens is coming home to roost, fam. And now they're all betraying him and et tu, Brute style, because they were never with him in the first place. They were just going to try to manipulate him as best they could. And now that they're done with him, they have no reason to be loyal to him anymore. So I think this is why we're seeing all of these people sort of betray him, but they were never really with him in the first place, and he should have been smart enough to get rid of them and surround himself with actual anti-war hawks and big brother hawks instead. But he didn't do that. So
you can't drain the swamp with the swamp.